I have to make an apology because I had it here, but somehow it disappeared on me, and I've searched every place. Introducing our third speaker, Mark, I believe it's pronounced?
Loughry.
Loughry. Oh, sorry. I don't even have to put your information, so I'm just going to introduce you to our third speaker. Sorry, I don't know what happened to it.
Good evening, members and guests. I think a puzzle is a great thing. You take a bunch of pieces, you meticulously put them together where they need to go. And when you're done, you end up with a beautiful and memorable picture. It means something. However, just like anything in life, every now and then, you might lose a piece to the puzzle. Now, if it's a side piece or a corner piece, maybe it's not that big a deal. It doesn't mean that much. However, if what you lose is the middle of the puzzle, the heart of the puzzle, even though it might still be recognizable, the picture has lost its meaning. Now, I believe every person owns a puzzle, but not a puzzle like this. I believe every person owns a life puzzle. And it's made up of the things in your life that are important to you. Your family, your friends, your pets, whether it's a dog or 8 cats. Whatever it is that's important to you. And when these things are all put together in their appropriate place, it represents a meaningful picture of your life. Now, if you lose a piece to this puzzle, you can just throw it away and buy a new one. If you lose a piece to this puzzle, though, you lose a piece of yourself, of your picture, and of your meaning. There are over 7 billion life puzzles today in existence. And tonight, I'm going to introduce you to the heart pieces, the center of one of those puzzles. There was a lady named Marife, a loving mother of 2 young girls. And she worked in a small optical shop in the local mall. She kissed the girls goodbye one morning as she left for work. She left them in the care of their grandmother, or as they say in the Philippines, their lola. This was her normal routine for every normal workday. Unfortunately for Marife, this wasn't a normal workday. Because before this day would end, the world would come to know one of the most devastating typhoons in recorded history, Typhoon Haiyan. When weather experts learn of a typhoon or a hurricane, one of the first things they do is try to pinpoint where it's going to make landfall. Because this is where the devastation, your potential for loss of life, is the greatest. And the experts agreed that this typhoon was going to make landfall in a place called Leyte, Philippines. And in Leyte, there's a local mall. In that mall, a small optical shop. The same optical shop where Marife was currently working. Leyte, Philippines was no match for the raw power of this typhoon. And in no time at all communications were severed and the entire region was plummeted into darkness. It was so bad that the authorities wouldn't let anybody who was in the mall leave until the storm had completely passed. For 10 hours, Marife sat in the dark confines of this mall by herself, thinking about her 2 young daughters. Were they safe? Were they even still alive? After all, she was in the safety of a concrete structure, and they were not. When the all clear was finally given, she sprang to her feet and ran home. And she had to run home because buses and taxis couldn't travel on the roads. They were covered in water or debris. It took her the entire day just to get back to her house. Or, should I say, where her house used to be. Because when she got there, what she found was her house was gone, as was every other house in her neighborhood. Total annihilation, total destruction, reminiscent of Hiroshima during World War II. She looked for her daughters, and when she couldn't see them, she She called their name. And when there was no reply, she screamed their names. Still no reply. Marife had just lost the two centerpieces, the heart of her puzzle. For 2 days, she scoured through the destruction and debris and the dead looking for her daughters. Whenever there was a faint cry for help, or whenever a body was extracted from the rubble, she would run over there to see if she recognized the girls. They were nowhere to be found. After 2 days, overcome by exhaustion, she collapsed to her knees, giving up all hope. But just then something miraculous happened, and she heard two familiar voices call her name from behind her. And when she turned around, she saw her two young girls running at her with open arms, Lola following close behind. You see, Lola, in her 61 years of wisdom, knew this wasn't a storm to take lightly. So before the worst of the weather had hit, she, with her two granddaughters in tow, had walked several miles to another village on higher elevation where she knew of a concrete structure that she could stay safe with the girls and wait out the siege. And it had taken them 2 full days just to walk back to their home. It was a miraculous reunion. Now, Marife had lost her house and everything in it. But what she found were the two heart pieces to her puzzle, the center of her puzzle. And she was able to take these pieces, putting them back together in their appropriate place, completing her puzzle and her life once again. I'm able to share with you the story of Marife tonight because her puzzle and my puzzle actually share some common pieces. My wife and Marife were best friends growing up. We went to school together, went to college together, even for a while worked together in a small optical shop in the local mall in Lake Philippines. And my wife is actually the godmother of little Nikki and Sarah, the two heart pieces to Marafe's puzzle. Toastmasters.